The best part about doing your own automotive work isn't anything small like saving money or being self-reliant or learning the value of working with your hands. No, it's because it gives you an excuse to accumulate tools. Why? Because tools are cool. Cool tools!
These tools look real. Cool tools. The look and the feel. Cool tools. Cool, cool, cool. Cool tools. Ready for real metal tools? You can get Cool Tools. Keep them in your handy tool belt or in your Cool Tools toolbox. Cool Tools. Tools, belt, and toolbox. Each sold separately, batteries not included.
I'll break down my tool recommendations for those of you out there getting started as DIY mechanics based on my experience working on tons of truck, car, motorcycle, and small engine projects over the past 15 years or so. We'll cover hand tools, power tools, floor jacks and jack stands, specialty automotive tools I love, and tool storage. You're gonna quickly find out that I am either a professional mechanic or tool snob. Some stuff that I have is expensive, but most of it is cheap but functional. This video is not sponsored by any of the tool manufacturers you're about to see, but it does have a sponsor, which is Techron Complete Fuel System Cleaner. More on them later, and hey, you're not supposed to see this yet. Let me get it out of the shop. You saw nothing. You saw nothing. Hand tools are a perfect place to start because eventually you will need all of these things: screwdrivers, wrenches, ratchets, sockets, hammers, mallets, pry bars, and so on. The great thing about hand tools is that they are a fantastic investment, meaning if you buy good quality ones and you take care of them, they will literally outlive you. In fact, I have two really cool ones I want to share with you right now. Both of these were handed down to me from my great-grandfather. This is an old classic US-made torque wrench, a 1/2-inch drive torque wrench that I've actually used on jobs. Sometimes I just like to use this one just because I use this to rebuild the top end rebuild on my Volkswagen Beetle's engine. And then also this classic vice grip. It's just, I actually have another, this newer one's good tool too, made overseas, but this one, the US made one, lubricate it with WD-40 every once in a while and just, I don't know, hear that. It feels and acts differently than the other ones. So you're 18, 19 years old, you're moving out on your own, you need some tools. This is where I'd start. So, no! Okay, that shouldn't happen again. All right, well, I love this mechanics tool set from Craftsman for a variety of reasons. First off, it comes in useful packaging. You will see other kits that come in less usable packaging, just like a cardboard box or something like that. Something you have to throw away and buy a tool box or something like that to bring your tools along. This one, I don't need that. It has all of my sockets, wrenches, and screwdriver set, so I just bring this with me on the road. The other thing I love about this set, does not skip sizes. This is especially prevalent with more bargain tool sets. You're working along and this set goes from say 20 millimeter to 10 millimeter, but you are missing your 14 millimeter because it didn't come with it. This has all of the sizes that you would need. Look for sets that don't skip sizes. A key thing that I really love about this set and just Craftsman tools in general is how easy the lifetime warranty is to use when bad things happen. You don't need a receipt, you don't need to buy an extended warranty, nothing like that. If I were to be dumb and break my 14 millimeter wrench, I would just bring the broken wrench in and bring it up to the counter, show that it's broken. They'd go get me a equivalent and I'd walk out with my new tool. Easy as that. And I've done it probably like 2 or 3 times. So I'm not saying you have to buy Craftsman at all. It's just, in my experience, one of the easiest to use with the warranty. So what hand tools are you going to need? I'm gonna start with what I personally use the most often, and then we're going to expand from there. By the time we're done, this will be full, just so you know. So first off, I'm gonna start with my personal standard depth and deep metric sockets. You also, of course, will need a standard 3/8 drive ratchet. Now, obviously, I can't do everything with just a standard socket set. I often need wrenches. So here is my personal set of metric wrenches. These are actually mostly from Harbor Freight, actually. These are the Icon tools, which are really nice. This is a newer set to me, actually. Again, Harbor Freight sets don't usually come with good packaging. So this wrench holder is actually from Amazon. I can link to it. And then I added one more size to flesh this set out. Most of my vehicles use metric because they're from either Japan with Toyota or Volkswagens, that sort of thing. But I also have a Dodge Ram, so I need standard version or SAE versions of all of these things. All this is great and all, but often you're working in very tight, hard to reach spaces, so you're gonna need more things. You're gonna need a swivel-headed ratchet, often handy, breaker bar, extension, and short extension. Also, ratcheting wrenches. These are kind of a luxury. You don't need these per se, but they are fantastic. And once you have them, they are very cool. Also, this is a great example. Again, these are from Craftsman of useful packaging. So again, you just take this with you when you go somewhere. Now, when you work on small or delicate things, often 3/8 drive sockets are too big because it's too easy to over torque and snap a fastener, a small bolt. So you're gonna need 1/4 inch. This is my collection of 1/4 inch stuff. As you see, it's not as thorough as my 3/8 because I don't use it that often. When you're working on heavier duty components, we're talking suspensions, wheel, lug nuts, things like that, you're gonna need more torque than 3/8 drive can give you, so you're gonna need 1/2 inch drive. So yeah, I told you to get full. So we got, that's standard, metric, breaker bar, regular, and swivel. In automotive work, it's often important to torque down fasteners, nuts, and bolts to a specific torque spec rating based on the service manual. So you're gonna need torque wrenches in all of the sizes, right? So 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 1/4 inch. And we're not done yet. Now say you want to use either pneumatic or battery powered impact drivers like this high torque 1/2 inch that we'll talk about more later, or a standard 18 volt impact driver for, nuts and bolts, then you're gonna need impact versions of your sockets. And all of the different sizes. And tools. They're a better way to spend your money than on drug cigarettes. We now have a ton of different brands represented here, and also the prices vary quite a bit as well. So I want to again touch on kind of the what to look for when it comes to more expensive and more affordable tool sets, what to kind of look out for and to expect. On the more expensive side, I'm gonna use these as an example. These are 1/2 inch metric 12-point sockets from Craftsman that I got. It came with these socket holders, as you see here, which work really well. And again, no sizes were skipped. And again, a lifetime warranty. On the other side, this is a set that I use all the time. This is my deep metric 3/8 drive sockets. These are from Harbor Freight, and I've had these forever. But they did not come with this socket holder. I actually bought this off of Amazon. It's from a brand called Techron that I'll link in the description. Works really well, but again, didn't come with all of these. It actually was missing, let's see, I think we were missing 18 millimeter. So this one is from Cobalt. And then we were also missing 20, whoa, I caught it, that's pretty good. I was missing the 20 millimeter. And so this one was from DeWalt. I think I got this one at Lowe's or something like that. Again, they're affordable, and I've had these for probably at least 10 years, and they have worked great. But, you have to find a way to store them, and then you also often have to go run to the store and get a different size that you're missing. So again, both are fine, both have their pluses and minuses. Most automotive projects seem to not use screwdrivers that much, but obviously you should have some on hand. A safe, affordable bet is from Craftsman, but I also have some Husky and Cobalt screwdrivers that are great. Modern vehicles will also often require special bit sets. These are used less often, but still handy to have, including a Torx bit set, hex bit set, and triple square set. It's always good to check what tools you'll need before you start taking stuff apart. Let's talk about power tools. Ah! Okay. Train outside? Now, which brand is best? You're gonna have to fight about that one down in the comments, but keep it civil. What's my personal favorite? I'm gonna have to go with Milwaukee. Reason for that, first off, longevity. Most of the tools you'll see behind me here, I've had for about 7+ years. I think this one is probably the newest one because it was kind of expensive, so I waited a while for it, but still going strong, all of this stuff, and including the batteries, which is a big deal when it comes to power tools, and kind of why I moved away from certain brands. Am I telling you you have to buy Milwaukee? Absolutely not. I understand that they're expensive. I am saying buy the best power tools that you can afford and for what you need, right? For me, I went through all of the brands, frankly, and some are still around because I still use them. I went from, I think way back in 2007, 2008, I had some DeWalt tools, then the batteries went bad, kind of got jaded on DeWalt, so then I went to Ryobi because again, it was what I could afford. I still have some Ryobi stuff laying around, works fine. So I moved to Cobalt, still again, have some Cobalt stuff, works great. Had this for, I don't know how long. And then from there, I moved to Milwaukee, and then I still actually now, for specialty cases, I have some DeWalt stuff that I really like, frankly. DeWalt's come a long way from the ones I had back in 2007. For automotive work, my personal favorite power tools are that one, and that one. We have the high torque, half-inch impact driver. This thing is a beast. I use this on lug nuts and all that kind of thing. I love this thing. It's awesome. It is expensive, but it's a beast. Probably the one I use the most of all of them is actually this 3/8 power ratchet. This thing is fantastic. This is from the M12 line, the 12-volt line, not the 18-volt line. I love this thing. It just makes certain jobs so much easier. Again, it's not a requirement, but I love using this thing. And then also we have just the standard 18-volt fuel impact driver. Very, very handy for all sorts of automotive work. So yeah, my 3 favorite. You guys know it's a great tool for keeping your vehicle running right? Techron Complete Fuel System Cleaner.
It's important to maintain your vehicle's fuel economy and performance. That's why I use Techron Complete Fuel System Cleaner at every oil change or 5,000 miles. It cleans deposits from your fuel injectors, intake valves, and combustion chambers. It also helps restore lost performance and protects the entire fuel system on or off-road. Maximize your fuel economy, minimize exhaust emissions, and tell your vehicle you love it by using Techron Complete Fuel System Cleaner.
Let's talk floor jacks and jack stands. This is where I'm a very big fan of current day Harbor Freight. They have come a long way. Starting with the floor jack, this is the Daytona 3-ton Super Duty low profile floor jack. I love this thing. I'll just kind of cut to the chase. This is probably the only floor jack you need. It's low profile enough that you can use it on cars. It also raises things up high enough that it's fantastic for trucks as well. To the point where they were actually sued by Snap-on for so closely matching their floor jack that looks just like this one. Sometimes you need more than one floor jack at a time. So and if that's the case, you know, if you're working on suspension components where you need to raise one thing up and one thing down, it happens. That's where it's kind of nice to have like either a 1.5 ton or a 2-ton floor jack for things like that. Moving on to jack stands, we have one of each of my collection. This little orange 3-ton I've had for 17 years and it still works. So let's go over kind of a rule of thumb of what I use each size for. So 3 tons like this old one and new one, they are great for light duty jobs, like, you know, doing an oil change on a small car. 6-ton, that's the one I use most of the time. Say you're doing an oil change on a truck. I use 6 tons for that. Maybe you could do a 3-ton. I wouldn't mess with that. I would definitely use a 6-ton because also you don't have to use, you don't have to raise it up as high because these are just naturally taller. So that's why 6 tons are my most used. Now, 12-ton. You might think, Jason, you don't have any giant, you know, like Super Duty sized trucks, right? You don't need that. I would disagree. It depends on what you're doing. I would recommend highly, if you're doing stuff like that, 12-ton stands are great. Again, you're requiring these to keep you alive when you're underneath vehicles, right? So if you're raising a vehicle, even if it's just a Tacoma, up really, really high, I would go with a 12-ton stand. Go big. Always go a little bit bigger than you need so you don't die. And on that note, Harbor Freight has definitely come a long way, right? They had that whole jack stand recall several years ago, and then they had to do another recall after that. My old stands actually predate those recalls, so I have felt okay using these, but the new ones are definitely much better, right? There's more reinforcement, they're better made. Also, the newer ones all incorporate a safety pin if the ratcheting mechanism in the jack stand were to fail. So when I'm underneath a vehicle, these are the main stands that I'm using. I only kind of use these as backups. I do steer people towards these newer ones and kind of leave these ones in the past. Also, I gotta say, again, I am not sponsored by Harbor Freight. I don't even get a discount. I use the same coupons everybody else uses. I bought all these at Harbor Freight like normal. I haven't gotten any of this stuff for free, just throwing that out there. Guys, if you're enjoying this video or finding it helpful, please do me a favor, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. I always appreciate feedback, and subscribe to Jason Explains Things. Help me reach 100,000 subscribers in 2024. So moving on to specialty automotive tools. These are things I use all of the time, and also they're like version 2 or 3 of these tools. I had less good versions in the past, and now I love using these. Starting with a very cheap and basic thing, but a nice deep drain pan. This thing is great because it's so much less likely to make a mess while you're doing an oil change or draining a radiator or something like that. I've used smaller ones and then also ones that have like a container built into the bottom of them. And hilarious things happen sometimes when you use those. Moving on to a specific tool for Toyotas is the Motivex Toyota drain tool, which comes with an oil filter wrench made in the USA, their oil filter housing drain tool, and then also a specialty funnel. Motivex is an awesome company. They're actually in Washington State, and I've done a video where I toured their factory. Again, not sponsored by Motivex, but they're an awesome company, and I highly recommend their tools. Also, if you guys end up needing a grease gun, this one from Lock & Lube is so much nicer than the old cheap one that I used to have. Fly. Dead fly. Next up, we have a fluid extractor. This one is grimy because I was using it yesterday. If you watch my channel, you see me use this so many times on oil changes, brake jobs, coolant flushes, all sorts of things. And because cars and trucks these days are pretty much rolling computers, you're also gonna wanna look at OBD devices for reading codes or doing diagnostic work. The one I would recommend first, and probably the most affordable one, and the one I honestly use the most, is the OBD Link MX Plus. This comes with a free app that you download on your iPhone or Android, and you're able to read live data, read codes, reset things. It's really, really handy. I like this guy. I also have 2 others here that are a little more specialty. This one from Launch is designed for Toyota and Lexus. I've used it to do transmission services, little more complicated things, and it's worked great. Also, this tool from Autel is specifically used for tire pressure monitoring systems. And with this tool, I don't have to go to a tire shop or the dealership to get my systems reset. And I have a video about this guy on my channel that I'll link below. So with this stuff, it's amazing how much stuff you can do yourself and you don't have to go to a dealership. We can't cover all these awesome tools without covering one of the most important topics, which is tool storage. My advice to you, after years of doing it right and wrong, is keep it simple, keep it organized. Don't go too expensive because you don't need to, but also don't go too cheap. The nicest tool chest I own is that guy right there from Costco circa 2014, 2015. It's actually a Kirkland signature brand, which is hilarious. That thing is a beast, really well made, has survived 3 big moves, including one across the state, and it still works great. It's really, really heavy, and so I don't really move it around very much, but I love that thing. Also, surprisingly not terrible is that tool cart from Harbor Freight from 2018, I believe. It's the US General brand when they kind of started to care a little bit more about quality. The only thing that kind of sucked about it that I upgraded was it only had swiveling casters on one side, so I had to buy 2 more. So now that thing is pretty sweet, and it's probably the one I use the most. I hope I'm making this clear. Brands don't matter. Being organized matters. Just have stuff in drawers that's aren't too crowded, aren't shoved on top of each other. Have like things with other things. Have your sockets all together, your wrenches all together. Just have stuff organized. I don't even know, like brands, who cares? I don't even know what it's like to own a Snap-on tool chest. I don't know what I'm missing, and I'm fine. I'm able to do all of these projects on this YouTube channel without fancy, super expensive tool chests, things like that. But tool chests and carts alone do not solve tool organization and storage issues. Trust me on that one. If you want to see how I organize this garage with that pegboard wall, the mechanics workstation, and all the other improvements you see around you, then click the video on the screen right now. Until next time, God bless all of you, and don't forget to do it yourself.